Ready?
everyone.
Hey everyone. Happy Friday. Thanks Marina for joining us. We're going to give it another minute or two until more people join before we officially get this thing started. But in the meantime, definitely good to have you here. How's your vacation?
Really nice.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I said that this is the best way to end my vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to ask your questions.
Yeah, definitely. Um, it's. I wish I knew what a vacation was. I'm just kidding. I do. I do know what they are. I just don't tend to take them, but I should. I was, although speaking of the general subject of vacations, I was chatting a lot about AI things with the previous podcast guest, and it does seem like there's a whole lot of things I could probably save time on if I just start using AI tools, which is it's pretty good. I know that are you guys using any AI tools? I know that Ernesto mentioned something about Midjourney, and I do notice that
Yeah.
a few of the tweets are definitely like Midjourney, especially like the Dash Coffee cup. There's like 8 million of those right now.
Yeah, my favorite AI tool is, well, I'm very basic
Mm-hmm.
regarding AI things. I love ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. Of
It's
course.
my it's my best pal to
Mm-hmm.
discuss some things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love to read her opinion
Yeah.
about many things happening in this world.
Sometimes it gets a little annoying to have to deal with
Hmm.
some programmed in limitations because, for example, I noticed I was trying to optimize a YouTube title this week. And it said, please do this. And it was about some guy who had gotten arrested for trading Bitcoin peer to peer. And I was trying, and they didn't want to, GPT didn't want to do it. They were like, no, I can't do legal activity. Like, I'm just trying. Listen, this guy just got out of prison. I'm talking to him about his case, about what happened. It's just, so I did just trick the AI. I had to actually say, like, you know, controversial instead of illegal, and then they did it, and I just switched the word at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Just annoying, you know.
That's her weak point, but it's
Mm-hmm.
very funny. You can say like, imagine that it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can. That's all you can do, and that it works. As far as I know, I haven't tried it yet, but
Yeah,
as I can see, that thing works.
I forget what was. Some friend of mine posted something where they were just saying, describe how you would, create like a ton of explosives or something. And I'm just like, and they did it in like the format of like a children's book. So it's just like rhymey children's book about first you get the napalm. I'm just like, oh no, what are you doing? You're gonna get this whole thing banned. No.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting very crazy to where that goes. But uh, one thing I've noticed is I think what it's doing right now is it's democratizing a little bit in that it's making like big ideas from smaller people become more competitive. Whereas like before you'd have to like have an extremely well-funded development team, for example. And then now I hear about how much of like Dash platform is being built by Sam and GPT-4, and obviously you can't replace everything, but just the amount of like extra work where you have to hire a bunch of people to get something done on the same schedule is just become more efficient because of that. And then I was thinking I'm probably going to start using Midjourney a lot for like thumbnails and specific like NFT pictures and things
Yeah.
like that.
It's very
And
helpful.
and the thing is, the limitations of that are kind of your own imagination And that's something that I've always had a lot of is imagination and not a lot of skill or competency, but I got the big ideas. So maybe it'll be interesting. Maybe I'll do some art for the back wall and make it, some really crazy trippy, like a bunch of like a tree with like dash fruit coming off the tree or something weird like that. Maybe we'll do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have description issues. So if I have some idea in my mind, I just cannot describe it properly for Mid Journey to make it,
Mm-hmm.
um, to make it shiny and cool. And sometimes I get some,
Something is.
shitty, I think, instead of a instead of a picture. So I need to train to describe it properly. There are many cool tips and tricks on how to do that.
Yeah. Scott Cunningham on the last show was talking about how you can use GPT-4 to give you the perfect prompt to put into Midjourney for a
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
thing, and that's where it starts getting crazy.
that's amazing.
Um,
Yeah,
Sam,
indeed.
Sam's in the live chat, so hi Sam. I know. I hope. I bet you love all this AI talk. And then David Holiday commented when Evo, so I think that maybe that's a good time to start actually get the show going. All right, I'm gonna hit the intro graphic and we'll officially begin. There we go. So, hey everyone, happy Friday. Thanks everyone for joining us. This is Dash Podcast. This is episode number 204, which means I've done 204 of these over the years. It used to be every week up until like 2019, and then 2020 onward was half of it was about every other week, and now it's once a month. But still keeping it going. 204 times I've done this, and it's pretty cool. And I had Marina on, I believe, as the last. Which, by the way, hi Marina. Marina
Hi.
Siradegyan from Dash Core Group. It's your which day is your 1 year anniversary of working for Dash?
24th?
Ooh. Missed it by
Yeah,
just a couple of days.
yeah, it was a couple of days ago
Yeah, yeah, but
when I was on my vacation.
yeah, I mean that's a good like 1 year. Then you go on vacation. But I think you were the last one on the terrible version of this podcast with all the connection issues. Remember, I just moved into this house and the internet was just like terrible, and I had to get it fixed. But so now it should be
Congrats.
not those. Thank you. I've not had internet issues since. So, well, let's fingers crossed. As a reminder, if you have one of my NFTs and you're in my Discord, you can leave comments in the Dash Podcast Super Chat channel. Otherwise, you can leave the comments on YouTube, Odyssey, everywhere else. And based on how I'm feeling about your comments, I may or may not address them. But anyway, yeah, let's get into this thing. So first of all, you've been working for Dash for a whole year. Oh,
Yep.
what's your generic recap? How's it been so far?
Um, I would divide this year into two periods.
Hmm.
First, I was like, oh my God, I'm working at Dash. And I've been working at many services supporting Dash. I've been
Mm-hmm.
buying Dash many times. I saw it take the top position on CoinMarketCap. And now I'm working at Dash.
Mm-hmm.
And no way. I was like, well, it's time for a new breath. It's time for new ideas. Let's guys do this. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my rose colored glasses period, actually, when
Yeah.
enthusiasm and new ideas were overflowing. And I remember my first podcast with you, and where well, I was like, we're gonna set up goals, make a plan, spread the roles, start doing amazing things. And well, turned out it was not that easy. And I faced many obstacles on the way, many challenges. And I'm happy that I took off that glasses in time and stopped being that naive. And now I see hard times and hard work ahead. And but the same at the same time, I feel more relaxed than I was at the beginning. But I realized that we got a lot of things to improve and to work in order to be competitive and outperform other projects.
Yeah. So, uh, what are some of the things that the rose-colored glasses told you that you had to get rid of before?
Well, we have many things related to a budget, related to inner processes within DCG, within the community, and that's what caused me to take off my glasses and see some realistic things that we can do now. For example, uh, I wanted to make more paid activities, like creating some public relations campaigns, creating some advertising campaigns, creating many um, things with bloggers. But it all requires budget. Uh, I realized that we have limited resources, and now we can do only like cheap things or uh, free of charge things. And when you start realizing your limits, you you become more realistic about what you can actually do.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, so, what are some kind of things that you've figured out that are like cost-cutting measures that you've been able to still do? Because at some point, uh, I think that a lot of people in some organizations, but definitely some people in the past who have worked with Dash or Dash Core Group, one of the reasons they've sort of struggled is they had all these ideas about like I can do this, I can do that, like we should do all these things, but then they don't have the budget, and then they just end up not doing any of these things, or just overpaying for one thing, and then they have no budget and nothing else to show for it. It's kind of been the Dash way for most of my time around the Dash
Yeah.
ecosystem, to just do a lot with a little. And so, what are some of these kinds of things that you learned to do to get a lot of extra reach from not very much?
Mm, that's an interesting question. Well, I tried to strike the balance. All I can do now, well, we're doing like AMA things, podcast things, spaces things with our partners, share traffic with our partners, and they give us their traffic. Um, we we're doing well, like we're posting, we're making articles. Well, it all at the end of the day, these are good things, but uh, it's eventually it's obviously not enough to achieve some good results. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to some budget, because we have many competitors if we take a look on CoinMarketCap, and these projects, some of them are overvalued just because they put a lot of effort uh, into their marketing activities. And right now, I think, well, we have some things at no cost, but they're not as effective as they could be is if they were paid. But so, like, yes, we're doing spaces, but there are a few drawbacks. Not so many people are participating in these spaces. And second one, we don't provide any customer funnel journey to them. So, like, a few of them visiting the Dash website, and like in South Park episode, they're gone. Nothing happens
And it's gone.
because yeah. uh, because because we don't have any customer journey things. So they see Dash, Well, all right, the Dash website. Okay, moving forward. And this one of the things that confuses me. Um, yes, we're making articles, but on the blog, so people read them when they're on the Dash website only. We don't have backlinks. We don't post guest posts. We don't improve our online visibility because it all costs money. So all we can do some no cost things that show that Dash is alive and kicking, but nothing above it, you know.
Yeah, which is already a great sort of start to things, but I do agree that there needs to be more. The thing is, Dash, like, as far as with a lot of these, like, I think the Twitter spaces are great because it's just a simple thing of scheduling. All you have to do is reach out to these places and say, hey, do you want to do a space together? And they'll, yeah, of course, someone will. And then now all of a sudden you get an opportunity to just talk. And it's like if you're releasing just general, like on the YouTube channel, obviously there's the every other week, the reports, the coding reports, and that's a great start. That's a little bit technical, even for someone like me who's been in Dash for a very long time.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you just want to talk, and what's the excuse to talk? Well, a partner space, and some of these partner spaces turn out really well. Like I think that the space with Edge was really good, but then again, I know Paul for many years, since before Dash actually. And then obviously the Atomic Wallet one was also another really good one.
Yeah.
And then any of the ones with the Maya people are always very good because we're talking about active partnerships with like engaged people. You get to talk a lot about feature sets. And then there's some other ones that are just XYZ exchange, and those can be a little like programmed. Like those can be sometimes pretty brutal, you know, as far as because every time there's a space, I will join it. I don't care. That's what I do. And sometimes they
I
can,
love it.
and sometimes they get a little awkward though, which is funny.
Yeah. We have some funny things, especially when I feel like a few people are coming, and then some crazy things start happening. Yeah, there are many things to remember in these spaces.
Yeah, but it's definitely a good first start, and I guess in the future, it's always good to keep doing those just like that. Well, I've started to think about since you started doing all these spaces is which spaces would I like to be on, which are partners we should kind of involve, and like for example, I reached out to Bitrefill and they should. I think we're probably going to do one with them soon. It's Sergey, the CEO, is also on vacation around the exact same time as you. So when Sergey is back, we'll figure something out. But then thinking about maybe all nodes, the ones who do the master node hosting for a lot of things, that might be good. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones we could do.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
But yeah, that's a great like first thing of stuff that's free that you can kind of get going. Another thing I realized too is Dash used to pay for a lot of things, and now I realize that if you ask, you can get partners to do a co-promotion thing, and they can pay some too. So rather than just you're doing everything, you can kind of have like a combined effort thing. And I'm talking with the Maya and Thor swap people about that right now, about doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. So anything surprising to you about the Dash project itself once you got involved? I mean, I think people have a lot of a perception of Dash from the outside, a lot of different perceptions. And then when you're in the Dash community and the family, there's a lot of things that are very different from
Yeah, absolutely.
the way everything else works. So what do you think? What was
Yeah.
unexpected?
Um, you know, um, what surprises me in Dash is that there are many organizations within
Mm-hmm.
the ecosystem, and all of them are interconnected and serve for different purposes. I've never worked at Davos, and this is a unique experience for me. What I had was always like, an average company with a classical structure, a typical centralized thing, with a guy who controls everything and makes the decisions. And here at Dash, with many organizations, many opinions, many people voting, like everything feels differently. It's cool because you can always be heard. Um, and if someone does not agree with your plans and thoughts, you can always discuss them with someone else who will hear you and take your intentions seriously. And the coolest part here is that nobody controls you.
Yeah.
You make your own decisions. You come up with your own ideas, weigh all the pros and cons, analyze the risks and consequences, and no one's gonna stop you or interrupt you or say that's not appropriate. And you're the boss among the other bosses, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what amazes me still.
Yeah, just the decentralization aspect of it, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's something that I think a lot of people. My personal opinion is a lot of times Dash flies under the radar because people hear the things that Dash is talking about and they think,
Mm-hmm.
well, everyone's sort of talking about that. But the difference is it's much more real with Dash, for example, with the everyone says decentralization, but then there's a lot of other cryptos that act like a company, that have a
Mm-hmm.
figurehead, that have like KYC to do everything. And,
Mm-hmm.
like, so for example, and it's kind of funny because I've been paying attention to Zcash for a while. I've started doing some work with Zcash on like the Zcash podcast here, and Zcash is starting to decentralize a little bit. But at the same time, in the beginning, it was just like one or two groups, and then they were legal, like U.S. based entities that they'd have to do. You'd have to give them KYC information to get paid and all that, like just like a company. And then there's Dash, which is just like step into the Thunderdome and fight it out over on Dash Central or whatever. Which, by the way, how have you taken the I guess the less polite aspects of the Dash world? Like, has it been a little bit of a culture shock to just go in where there's like a proposal and then some random person's like, you're a scammer, and so, like all that stuff. Has that been a little strange?
Not strange. I got used to it when I worked at other crypto projects because well, I got used to attack to attack from other persons. Well, when they're attacking you and saying you're a scam, you're a you're this, you're that. Um, uh, Not a cultural shock because I got used to I got used to the industry itself. Um, but that decentralization fact was really nice. It's very nice to know that you always can be heard, that your opinion can play some role in such cool project. And this is what inspires me all the time. And when I start thinking about some idea to implement, I know that my idea can be implemented, can be heard, and can affect somehow on the state of Dash right now. And it's very inspiring because I I always loved Dash as a project before working at DCG, and right now making something good for that project. It's really, you know, I love it. I love to realize that fact.
Yeah. So how has it been? We're talking about the decentralization and all this, but I guess when you're working for a company, first of all, you know who your superiors are, you know how to interact with them. Whereas with the DAO, you have master nodes who, you know, are the real bosses of everything, and sometimes they can act like
Yeah.
online trolls more than other people. They're all over the place. But also the intercompany, I guess, like when you're interacting, you just tell Ernesto do this, or he wants you to do that, or you talk to Sam about that, and but then with Dash, you have to interact with other people who don't work for the same structure at all. Like for example, the marketing hub is a big one. And how has that
Yeah.
been having to work with other groups that aren't they're kind of your group, but they're not your group.
In general, I like the Dash people. You
Mm-hmm.
guys are always eager to help, to guide, and cooperate. And actually, coordinating between the organizations
Mm-hmm.
was easier than I thought. And to be honest, it's the easiest part of my job because I know that we're like not all, but many of you guys were on the same page, and
Mm-hmm.
we serve for one purpose: make Dash great again. I
Yeah,
hate that phrase, but
it's true.
yeah. So I'm not feeling some kind of resistance when I start talking about some marketing things,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and this is very cool that I say I'm saying that you know I can say it 1 million times that you can be heard, and that's it's very very cool, and that's the coolest part of my job, of the communication between the organizations.
Yeah, it's the democratic kind of structure is very
Yeah,
very
yeah.
strange. So, first of all, now you work for Dash Core Group specifically. How has that been? How has it been working for DCG? Not the lesser known DCG in the crypto world, but the DCG we all know. How's that been?
Um, I'm not saying anything bad about DCG. DCG
Okay.
is became my family. Um,
Yeah, I
I
see
love these
Sam
guys
in the live
actually.
chat saying there's a raise for that. Just kidding. Mhm.
So I love these guys, and every day I see them work hard and give themselves entirely to their job. And I see how many resources they put into the Evo release, and they are professionals dedicated to their job. And I'm really happy and proud to be part of their team. And I think harsh criticism towards DCG is unjustified. I hope I hope that things between DCG and the community will become easier someday. Well, when we possess some budget for great marketing activities.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see because uh, Dash like so I've been part of the Dash community since like 2016 or so, and in that case, I guess my involvement with Dash sort of predates DCG a little bit because in 2014 or whenever Evan started everything, it was Evan and then a bunch of old timers who just like every old school crypto project, a whole bunch of volunteers and believers, and they kind of came together and they were I guess they were the core team, but they were the core developers and then other volunteers. And then they started to get some treasury proposals, but it wasn't anything remotely the same. It was just whoever showed up. Like Tungfa, I don't know if you how at some
Yeah,
point it'd be fun to look back
I
in
know.
all the history, but like Tungfa was great and a nightmare at the same time because he was great because he showed up when no one else would to do a lot of like social media and marketing type stuff. But then on the other side, he was kind of disinterested towards the end and like a little frustrating sometimes. It like typos in tweets that you'd have to yell at him for, and he just didn't care because he was, and there was a lot of those kinds of people. And then at some point, after like I remember when Ryan Taylor was like the director of finance or whatever, and Evan was like the head. And then at some point, then Dash Core Group got created officially in 2017, I believe. Of course, Sam or someone who's watching can of course correct me. He also said, "Ah, Tungfa, miss him." Tungfa also, his Instagram was like all taking pictures of his own feet. It was kind of weird, but that's the Germans a little strange. But anyway, he I remember when Dash Core Group got created as like a official thing, and then you had Ryan Taylor as a CEO, and then you started having a lot of the old school like volunteer people in Dash now became part of Dash Core Group in some cases, like because of loyalty, I guess because of past loyalty, and then over time they kind of got replaced when they went on to other things, and then you had to hire someone, and it's been like a while, and so today's Dash Core Group is also very different from before. So you came into Dash during an interesting time, let's just say, because
Yeah.
there was the, I guess, the Ryan Taylor era of Dash, where I guess Dash Core Group was I guess the most important by far, still is, I guess, the most important entity in the Dash
Yeah.
ecosystem. But before, it was like everything, kind of. And from 2017 to 2022, you had this era with a certain vibe, and it came to an end. Was it last
Yeah.
year? And then you came in like right after that, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you didn't experience the like Dash one way and then a big change. You experienced like the new Dash from the beginning. However, with a lot of like the baggage, the context, a lot of people like back in talking about stuff you probably didn't know about, but like that. How has it been like navigating through that tumultuous era?
Um, you know, well, that's an interesting question. That upheaval moments and drama are a result of internal problems that have lasted for many years. And I don't think that I handled these problems somehow. And
Mm-hmm.
because they still persist in some way, and just one person wouldn't resolve them in a year or two. What I can do right now is to be as transparent with the community as possible, be helpful, offer and implement ideas and initiatives. But I don't think these things are a solution in the long run. I think there's got to be, some transformation or so. Um, I don't feel that I can affect the situation within Dash itself right now as a humble community manager.
Mm.
But in general, it feels good to me right now. I know that we have some purposes in marketing. I know that we have many things to work on. So step by step, I'm trying to do my best to perform these steps uh, in the best way possible.
Yeah, that's for sure. So this is where we come to you know, the say as much as you can without getting fired part. Um, what are your strongest criticisms about the Dash community? Or it could also be, and this is like super open ended too. It could also be, what are your criticisms of the Dash technology? Even like say like, oh, I think it's great, but you guys don't have enough privacy focused wallets, for example. Or I think it's all great, but there's like just anything. Just what are some
um,
things as a because you're not an outsider really, but you were an outsider like a year ago, and you probably still remember what the rest of the world is like before coming into the only Dash world. So, what are some things that I guess you would criticize about Dash in general?
um, I'm not gonna criticize some technical things because I suck at technical things. Um, well, what I would say that criticism itself sucks. Let me
Mm-hmm.
explain. Let me explain. Actually, what is criticism? The truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, and Mark Twain, as far as I remember, once said
Mm-hmm.
that the truth must be served like a coat and not thrown in the face like a wet towel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not saying that telling the truth sucks. I'm saying that only very few people can do it properly, and only a few people can serve criticism like a coat.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't give names here, but there are some people in the community who can do that properly.
Mm-hmm.
And from their mouth, criticism turns into a counterproductive, discouraging thing that triggers aggression instead of the opposite. In my case, I try not to criticize, but rather to guide someone who needs that guidance, because I can criticize either.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and regarding the community, regarding the situation right now in Dash, I would like to see more go-getters in the community. We have many people there. We have many ideas, but uh, well, very few of them do something when it comes to action. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this from the marketing perspective. Like, for example, Chris Webb has reached out to me recently, and we were talking about the Dash landing page and QR code stickers, some sort of an offline campaign when you see a QR code in your local area and turn on the camera on your phone, log on to log on to a dedicated Dash page.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that idea. And we will start making mockups with the DCG designer next week. I also remember our Maya thing coming up in the near time. And this is an example of initiative from the community side. This is an example of an action I would love to see more in the community. And I'm here. I'm open for cooperation. Just ping me, say, hey, Marina, let's do this, let's do that. And it could be sorry, it could be
Mm-hmm.
way more productive than whining on forums about DCG or whoever doing nothing or doing shitty, tasteless things.
Mm-hmm.
Consider this consider it my criticism to the community right now.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Let me before I address a little bit more of that, I do realize we did have a super chat from Hilawi on this whole thing. We basically just said Marina's focus on the customer, specifically Masternode owners and the Dash community, has been refreshing and welcomed on the administration side. Please keep up the external outreach. We need it. So, very nice. As far as he also commented a little bit, on the regular chat about a legit criticism of a DAO with a treasury. Sometimes the existence of a treasury makes the master owners armchair quarterbacks, which sorry for the U.S. reference, but basically, this is something what I think that really peaked in the, I guess, the Ryan Taylor era, and it's gonna. And I'm not sure if it's. I don't think it's a. I wouldn't say it's a criticism of Ryan, but it is something that happened when Dash became professionalized. There's two things that happened. First of all, in 2017 was the Masternode boom, when I remember when Dash came out and the price went insane. Mostly because a lot of the reason I'm in retrospect starting to realize is because people say if I buy a Masternode, I can live off of the residual income for life. That was kind of the idea. And then you had Pivex, for example, jumping saying, "Oh, we have Masternodes too," and everyone jumped in on that because they like, well, I can't. It's too expensive to get a Dash one. I can get a Pivex one. And maybe I'll be early on that. And did see in like October or something of 2017 some ads out there for some other, no disrespect, but shitcoin, some shitcoin out there that says like, you've missed the Dash boom, you missed the Pivex boom, but this is the next Masternode coin, and like, so there was definitely a lot of that going on in 2017, but then So Ryan, I guess, to his credit, was trying to professionalize what was just like a weird cypherpunk project. He's trying to make, you know, crypto more palatable to the average, to the serious business world. And
Yeah.
an unfortunate side effect of that is a lot of masternode operators, a lot of the MNOs viewed themselves as board members, kind of. That DCG is the
Yeah.
company. They show
Yeah.
up and they say, "What do you have for me? You're not doing enough. I will, we if you do really
Hmm.
badly, then we will fire you or whatever." And just like this very passive role. And that's not the way crypto works. Crypto is an open source, community run technology. Even companies these
Yeah.
days, even like, you know, for example, Starbucks or whatever, do a lot to get the community to go do their marketing for them, for example, to do a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff. Even, and Dash is like the greatest benefit of Dash is that it's a DAO. Anyone can do anything. And but the
Yeah.
problem is a lot of people did not have this DAO mindset. They had the mindset of, I did my part by buying a master node and then voting sometimes. And that's it.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, but you got to be active. You got to actually engage with different groups and say, well, someone should do a proposal that does this. Oh, no one wants to do it. I guess I have to do the proposal. And it's always funny.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I'm sorry for calling out a specific. I mean, I'm not going to use a specific name or handle, but there was a relatively well known, at least in the Discord's MNO, who had an idea and he put forth a proposal, but then he he did something as a decision proposal, and he asked for 2 dash reimbursement, and he had some like logic that like, okay, it is fine, I don't care. But then people got really mad at him, and then they say like, I'm gonna vote. I agree with this, but I'm gonna vote against it because you asked for too much money. And it's just so funny to like people that are used to sitting back and doing nothing, and then when you try to do something, being like, oh wow, these are the challenges I have to deal with, and it's kind of an interesting culture. But yeah, that's that little rant about community involvement. It's
Yeah.
definitely different.
Definitely.
Now, what do you think are some of the biggest areas Dash needs to improve? And I think I could have like 3 hours of content just personally on this, but I'd like to hear your perspective.
um, I can I can tell it as a marketer
Mm-hmm.
because I see marketing as one of such areas, and things are really complicated with marketing because as I said before, it requires budget, and I have a bunch of ideas on how to make things work from the marketing perspective. But given that situation, especially with SEC attacking
Mm-hmm.
Bittrex regarding Dash. So we had some budget for marketing activities, but
Mm-hmm.
now things become tough, and we need to do something with that moment, um, instead of dedicating our efforts to marketing, you know.
Yeah.
And there are some issues from the outside we cannot control, and we cannot foresee them. And there are many things with SEC, things with bear market, things with some regulatory shitty things happening from time to time. And these things affect our plans regarding the marketing.
Mm.
And we need to, we need to do something with our marketing plans in general. So we have some strategy. We have to stick to that strategy no matter what. But right now, the current situation doesn't allow us to do that. So, for example, speaking of that customer funnel, uh, we have like many stages of that customer funnel journey, like, acquisition. So we're talking about landing pages, advertising announcements, YouTube videos, search engine visibility. We're talking about activation, which implies enrolls, first contact, subscriptions, documentations, views, downloads, shares, etc. We're talking about retention, like maintaining interest through various activities. And we're talking about referrals, which imply feedbacks, likes, getting recommendations, and buzzword. Like, in general, what I'm trying to say is that we need to focus more on marketing,
Mm-hmm.
because we put like almost like no effort to that sphere, and that's what hold us back.
Mm. You know, it's funny on a perspective on that. Um, the crypto space is still competitive today, but it's a lot more like I feel like it was much more harshly competitive in the early days. And so, for example, I do remember, the whole like toxic maximalism stuff that happens. That was not only a thing back in the day, but then you had the Litecoin people, not so much, but a little bit. Then you had the Monero people, really were the nastiest of all of them, and they still are a little bit with like Zcash and some other things. But and then there was like all kinds of competitors that were very dishonest, and so Dash had this reputation as the marketing coin, and I think that that's the silliest thing ever, because back in the day, Dash didn't do very much of marketing at all. Every once in a while, you had like a marketing proposal, like you had like I think it just Amanda did her show Dash Detailed, which ran about a year, and it was a very good show. And then people, it's the marketing coin. That's all they focus on is marketing, and like, and in my humble opinion,
Mm-hmm.
having been here and unfortunately being part of a lot of the marketing stuff, Dash has had some of the worst marketing of any crypto over the years. It's been like not good, and we're doing the best we can now. But yeah, I do definitely agree that Dash needs to be much more at the forefront. And my style of promotion, kind of, I there's a few things that I'm waiting for to be released before I feel like we can really hit things strongly. But I think it'll be a lot easier to market Dash once you have just one of these things we're waiting on. One of which would be the Maya release. I think that makes it a lot
Mm-hmm.
easier
Yeah.
because you're like, you can just say stake and earn with Dash. It's great. And then they were like, well, I don't want to do the custodial crowd node, and I don't want to set up the whole multi sig for 100. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, just do Maya then. That's trustless. That works. There's that option. Or it's just like, how do I get it? It's like
Yeah.
Dash is on all the Dex platforms now, and and then every
Yeah. We
single
should
thing.
provide some alternative. Yeah. Um, you know, I would love to have more cooperations like ones with Maya.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should aim more projects like Maya in the long run,
Mm-hmm.
because it will bring us, uh, that proper marketing instead of that bad marketing we had. I'm not saying it was like bad. I'm just saying that it needs to be, uh, well thought well thought out actions towards marketing. I'm not saying like we need to put everywhere or a message like you buy Dash is very good, Dash is the best. No, it doesn't work like that. Instead, we
Mm-hmm.
need to make some webinars, hackathons, participate in many many conferences, and spread the word
Mm-hmm.
about Dash's strongest parts, and provide more real use cases,
Yeah.
and to ensure regular people that Dash is a reliable crypto. It's way more reliable than Bitcoin is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's. there's a lot of things that could be kind of done, and I feel like the Dash has been very timid in a lot of these things. But the good thing about engaging external partners, which by the way, speaking of like the whole like small-minded thing that we have to deal with sometimes, a lot of people were resistant to the whole Maya thing because they're like, I haven't heard of that, and they were accusing me of just doing this to pump my bags or whatever. Like saying like, oh, he must own a lot of their token. That's why he's trying to market this whole. And it's like, Jesus Christ, people. But the good thing about that is I have noticed new people coming in. Like you notice when new people show up in Dash, and I've noticed like new
Yeah.
people being like, when they want to start using it, then they ask questions that regular Dash users don't ask, and sometimes I get a new perspective. And that's one thing I've noticed with, for example, the Maya and the big influx of new interest that came from that. A lot of people just start asking again, sometimes in the Dash channels, but sometimes in other channels. They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, how do I install this wallet, or how do I, stuff like that." But then they
Yeah.
ask, "How do I use like the privacy feature?" And
Hmm.
I hate it when they ask that these days because I don't have a good answer as far as I know, like right now, so I use the mixing feature all the time. But then I have like a full node on my computer, right? And I do run it over
Yeah.
Tor. And I'm like, but that's not most people. And so I'm like, okay, well, there's Dash Electrum. But Dash Electrum wasn't maintained until recently. Like it in the mobile Electrum app, I've tried it a few different times. It can't mix right now. There's some bug that keeps it from syncing all the way. And of course, Bertrand, he's doing great work on it, and I keep sending him bug reports. But so then, and then I am talking to, and this is where Sam's gonna start rolling his eyes in the comments. But I need to talk to Brian, who's at Brian Foster, who's at Consensus right now,
Yeah.
about doing mixing in mobile because for years it's kind of like, well, we'll do other wallets, or maybe we don't want to get banned from the App Store, or like, well, like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a bunch of concerns, and I kind of like, okay, I get it, but now I'm noticing people, like new people coming into Dash, not just the old Dash community, and they're saying they really want, like, that's the feature, that and trustless staking, which Maya will help with, but an
Yeah.
overhaul of the trustless master and shares thing, which again is another thing I've been yelling at Sam about, and I'm probably rolling his eyes about. But I kind of notice when you get out there and start marketing with other people, then they say something like, for example, sometimes when I talk to Litecoin people, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and then like most Litecoin people just care about Litecoin, I guess, but some are like, "Oh, I want to try out this Dash thing," and then they're like, "Does Dash have like a card like the Litecoin card?" And I mean, the answer is, well, no, but also Litecoin doesn't have a Litecoin card anymore. They're shutting down the KYC Litecoin card. Like the bank that's doing that is shutting it down. And so, but then it's like, okay, Dash Direct is coming up with some cards and stuff, and then maybe there's another company that might come on board soon, but it's a little hush hush. But the point is, you start getting questions that you like. We're all comfortable here, but other people are like, it's like, just use CrowdNode. We trust those guys. And then when you get 100 Dash, go through this like signing ceremony a bunch of times, and then now it's trustless. It's great, and everyone here is fine. But then you get someone from outside of Dash. They're like, I want a stake. Oh, it's custodial. No, and then they just like, okay, that's some information that we need to do better.
Yeah. Well, mm, you're telling the right things. I think we, um, I have many thoughts in my head
Mm-hmm.
about things we need to work on, and we we're running out of time
Of course.
to talk about, to cover all of them,
Well,
and
let's hit on the strongest point.
1 hour is definitely not enough. What?
What do you think Dash's strongest point is? The thing that it does
Uh,
better than everyone else, either the Dash technology or the community or both.
Dash is an absolutely amazing project from many perspectives. You know that.
Of course.
It's fast, it's secure, it's reliable, it's old, it's proven, it's effective,
Mm-hmm.
and we should leverage our competitive points. Um, Dash is very undervalued compared to other cryptos. And
We've
but
heard
at the
that
same
before.
time, what? What? Sorry?
Said we've heard that a lot of times over the years. Everyone says Dash is so undervalued. It's like, yeah, we know.
Well, yeah, you know it. And I'm like a captain obvious, right
Yeah.
now. I'm telling obvious things. Um, but at the same time, Dash being undervalued is our strongest point because
Mm-hmm.
we're still able to surprise and we hold all the aces to boost. And it all will happen if we possess some budget. To what I'm saying, we have many features to talk about. We have many features to advertise. We have um, many reasons to be live on some contests, on some conferences. We have many things to talk about in terms of crypto as a whole, in terms of Dash itself, and this is our strongest part because not so many people, compared to other crypto projects like on top of CMC, uh, not so many people discovered Dash for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we can work on. And I still believe, I keep my hopes high that um, I will witness that moment when Dash will reveal, sorry, when Dash will relieve all its beautiful features to other people, by means of marketing, by means of Dash Evolution or whatever. But we need to do that in near time. And not just yet another obvious thing, but that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I couldn't really disagree with any of that. So let's hit on if anyone has any questions for Marina or comments you really think need to be read out, start working on those. But what are you most looking forward to in the next few years of hopefully working for Dash? Of course, if you just want to be like, I'll work another 3 months, I'll find another job. That's fine. That's your it's your life anyway. But assuming you're going to be with Dash for a little while, what are you most looking forward to in the future?
Well, hopefully I'll manage to see and participate in Evo's launch. And this will not resolve all the issues inside and outside Dash, but it will definitely help us surprise the industry in a good way. It will help us obtain new customers, improve our visibility, and boost our CMC rankings, hopefully. So Dash Evolution, well, fingers crossed. I will participate in its boost and promotional campaigns and other things I'm dreaming of for a long time.
Yeah.
Sam, you hear me? Please.
That is pretty funny. Good old Sam. And I think one thing I need to do. I was discussing because about using Midjourney because I mean obviously, you know, Midjourney like AI art and stuff can really help with a lot of things. I know Ernesto keeps on putting out the Midjourney, or I don't know, he talks about putting out with like the dashy coffee cup, good morning, and like GM, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know if I have enough need for Midjourney to pay the monthly subscription every month. So I'm thinking of just getting all my ideas written out and just pay for 1 month and just create them and then cancel the subscription for a while. And one of those ideas is I need to get an art of Sam as Atlas holding up the world of Dash on his shoulders, just like, and then maybe get an NFT made of that or something. That would be nice.
You should definitely do this and post it everywhere.
Yeah, that's for sure. Um,
Yeah. That's a
so
new avatar for Sam. It's gonna be.
yeah, well, I already told him. So I saw other accounts doing things like this on Twitter where like sometimes it's a power move to like not follow anyone or just follow like one person. And like I do know some like Bitcoin people only followed like Hal Finney, for example, who may or may not be Satoshi. Let's see what Bitcoin Magazine does something like that. Now they follow 1 million people. Anyway, so when I made the Dash Community Twitter account, I only followed Evan. And Evan tweeted once and he never tweeted again. He just gone. Like, so it's a shitty old. He doesn't even have a profile picture. It's what it is. But I have always threatened. I said, you know, Sam, if you actually ship Evo, I will unfollow Evan and follow you instead on that account. Just that's the real reason he works so hard.
Yep,
And
indeed.
what? So before we wrap up here, T, I don't know who that is, but in the YouTube chat did comment a couple of interesting things. He says, he basically just said, how do Dash, Bitcoin Cash, BSV, and other old school coins make it these days? Like, what's this unique service that you could provide? P2P Cash, there's tons out there. And he also said plebs seem uninterested. It's very sad as a 2013 Bitcoiner, same here, looking at this. Yeah, so I'll give you some time to think about that one because I'm thinking about this a lot. I think that, first of all, a lot of the old school coins were based on Bitcoin because Bitcoin got a lot of things right, did a lot of things really well. And I feel like a little bit of Ethereum, but everything else after that just kind of like that, we don't need those things that are right. We don't need the fundamentals and the decentralization and all those kinds of things. So what I think in this rocky regulatory world, but not just regulatory, in this world of competitiveness, when people have to start relying on these networks, they have to start putting thousands of transactions per hour, per a minute, whatever, through these networks, and they start breaking, they start having real money and real commerce on these chains, and then real attackers trying to take them down, and 51% attack and all that. When you have all that happen, I think that will shake out a lot of the crap that's at the top of the things. And also, like, all the stable coins are going to go away at some point. Not all of them, but some of them when there's regulation. That's going to change some things. But the point does stand as far as how do these coins make it these days? Well, for the most part, no one uses crypto. I mean, I do, but like most people don't use it for everyday money. And I find that like people, if they do want to buy something with Bitcoin, they use Bitcoin. Sometimes they use Lightning, but usually they use Litecoin instead. They're just like, well, that's the other one that's still fast and cheap. And at some point, I think like Litecoin does like 100,000 transactions a day. It could probably do, like close to 1 million a day, right? Maybe something like that. Once people are doing 1 million transactions a day on Litecoin, and then you have scaling problems there, then it's going to start moving down. The people are going to look at what else. But the answer is like, you can't, when you're trying to compete, you can't, there's an old saying in the US about you can't build a better mousetrap, or it's like some basic build a better toothbrush, whatever. You can't just do the same thing but a little bit better. You can't dethrone the king that way, right? And in order to do that, you have to do something radically different. And I think that one reason why Monero's been doing so well, relatively speaking to all the other old coins, is because it does the privacy thing. It has the kind of at least the branding of this is the top privacy coin. I'd argue that Zcash's privacy is a lot better, but Zcash has his own issues to work through. But because it got that, it's like, okay, it's not just a replacement for Bitcoin. It does other things. Now we need the same thing with Dash. And I think that it's fast and cheap. Okay, sure. Oh, it's super secure. Well, who cares? Because like no one attacks, no one 51% attacks anything else these days. They will at some point, but they don't yet. No one cares. And then it's like, well, privacy, okay, but only in this full node wallet that no one uses, and you're mixing all night and all. Okay, doesn't matter, right? But once you start having, I think the staking gets people involved. They're like, oh, you mean I could stake? And then they're like, they start paying attention. Sometimes they go away when they hear it's custodial with the crowd node on the small amounts, but whatever, they'll get in there. And then if you had a better, more usable privacy thing, I think that would help. But when Evo is a thing for a reason, right? Because
Yeah.
no one uses a good username setup. There was a time when everyone had their .eth domain that they were paying so much money every year to keep registered, and it just didn't catch on. And Bitcoin has some like paynim thingy going on. Everyone has something, but no one really uses them. They're not mass adopted for a reason. Once you have a good username setup, I think that now we start to pull ahead. Now we start to be like, oh, you mean
Yeah.
I can import my wallet, my history, my contacts, and everything. Like I was, and if my last little bit on this little rant, before I let you say some things, right, is I booked accommodate. I'm going to ETHDAM, the ETH conference in Amsterdam in a few weeks, and I just booked the hotel today, and I did it using Dash Direct because Hotels.com on Dash Direct is 6% off, and 6% is pretty good. I actually saved a good chunk by doing that, but the pain point was Dash Direct is only on the phone, right? And so I had all the money on all the stuff on the computer, so I literally had to, like, first of all, I had everything mixed, right, using the CoinJoin mixing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go pay for it, but I can't pay for it because I need to pay for it on the phone. So I literally had to send it to my phone wallet. But the computer Dash Core wallet does not have a QR code scanner. And so how do I get the
User
thing?
experience.
Yes, so
Bitches.
literally what I did, I manually typed out an address.
Oh no.
Character by character, manually typed out the Dash address of my mobile wallet and sent to it. And then I bought the gift card and, okay, great. So I got the gift card, but then I had to then on the computer manually type out the gift card number into the thing. And it's like, well, what if I had my phone username and my like desktop username? Then I could just say, type in phone, send. It'd be so much easier. Or even better,
Yep.
what if I didn't have to mix on desktop? What if I already mixed on mobile? I wouldn't have to send it from there to here. I could just send it from there, buy the gift card, and go. And another thing, Marshall, is I need to be able to use Dash Direct on desktop because about half of the things are in person, but half of the things I need to buy is on my computer. Anyway, I don't know what my point in all that was other than to just rant, but there you go.
That's a good example of bad user experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ryan just commented, "Oh hell, I typed out a Dash address. Incubator really needs to get moving on our desktop wallet and private send SDK." Yeah, absolutely. It's those little things. Now, if you had a QR code scanner on the Dash Core wallet, I could have just gone whip and then scan it that way. But yes, there's a lot of these, like, this is one of the big reasons why I live on crypto is because I need to gather data. That's the only way to do it. Your life has to be a personal hell before you realize what needs to be fixed.
I bet you have many of such kind of use cases with poor user experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
you can participate like in some tests of or in what's called forgot the name. Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, just go ahead.
I have to say,
until it.
Whenever I recommend people to use crypto for the first time, I always recommend the official Dash wallet. And part of that is, yay, Dash, focus on user experience. Another part of that is I've been using it every single week at least once for the last 7 years. And every time something does not work, I yell at them and they fix it. And no other crypto wallet has that benefit of just some asshole like me saying, it doesn't work when you do this. Here's the crash reports, and then just like making it work. And so I have a feeling once we start adding a lot of new user experience kind of features and stuff, Dash is going to pull ahead of everyone in some ways because you're going to have that actual data of people using it to make the product actually good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, Sorry, go ahead. I'm talking too
No,
much.
I mean you can participate in CAS devs. You know, when in CAS dev surveys, when developers are looking for some opportunities to make a wallet or an application better, so you can participate in this kinds of surveys just in order, to whatever. I just I'm talking like from the marketing perspective, but I just don't know how things work when it comes to building some application. But uh, you really you have many uh, things to reveal when it comes to development, and it's very cool.
Yeah,
That's what I wanted to say.
absolutely. Well, it's a good time to wrap this whole thing up. Uh, where it's shill o'clock. Where do you want people to go? What do you want people to do? Where can they follow you, etc.?
um, Sorry, can you repeat, please? It's just 1 a.m. here, and then I
Yes.
can start to
Well,
talking very silly things.
what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want people to do now? Do you follow you on Twitter? Follow maybe the main Dash account. Is there something specific you want to draw people's attention to as we conclude?
You can find me on Discord and on Twitter, and I would love to chat and telling some tell some things about Dash and DCG. So if you want, or I'm always ready to cooperate and open to any of your ideas
Yeah,
to make something together with Dash.
yeah. It's funny. Sam just commented. He says 1 a.m. That's rookie hours. 4 a.m. here. It's like
Rookie hours, yeah.
Sam. Not everyone lives the disgusting way that you live. And what's your you're at Telegram too, right?
Yeah. I can. You want me to write it, or
Well,
I don't
I
know.
think I know what it is. I'm just going to confirm real quick. I'm just putting it in the live chats.
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, that's another thing. It would be great to just. I wish everyone could get just like a single unified Dash username to use on social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, as I say in the comments here, right? It's Dashy Girl on Twitter,
Yeah,
GRL,
yeah. It
and
is.
then it's Marina on Discord with an E at the end and not an A, and then it's
Yeah,
PFEFFA on Telegram. PFEFFA.
yes.
Do you know?
That's from Watership Down. Did you read this book
No.
about rabbits? A very interesting, you know, social anarcho. Um, well, what it's called in sorry, I'm talking shit, but
Yeah.
the book is very cool. You definitely should read it if you like, uh,
Mm-hmm.
forget
If
it.
you want to. All right.
Forget
Well,
it.
I will keep you up much longer. Thanks very much for being on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for
Congratulations.
having me.
Yes, congratulations on your Dash anniversary. 1 year. Here's to many more. And now it's time for the after party where we do stuff like this, except it's not recorded, not published. You get to swear, whatever. And that goes on until whatever. A lot of times I see like the sun coming up in the background of someone who's in Europe or Asia or something. So to get to the after party, all you have to do is you go to the Dash Discord or the Dash Telegram channel or comment in my Discord or wherever. Just ask me. I'm at the Desert Links just about everywhere. just hit me up and say, hey, how do I get into the after party? Where's the link? How do I get in there? And I'll hook you up. I would say see you, Marina, in the after party, but I'm not going to assume that you will be there because it's really late, and not everyone lives this hellish life that people like Sam do. So
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll join for a for a couple of minutes
yeah,
to say hello.
absolutely. Well, thanks very much for being on. Thanks everyone for watching. I believe next month on the Dash podcast, I believe that Sam agreed to be on, and that will be the When Evo show. So we'll see. If I reschedule, I'll let you know. But yeah, enjoy the weekend. Stay dashy. Don't forget to use crypto. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.